All right, what is going on, Amazon sellers, and welcome to the live Q&A show built just for you. This week we've got something a little special for you guys. This is our Amazon sellers Festivus celebration. We'll have an airing of grievances. We're gonna have feats of strength, a Festivus miracle, some trivia, and a toast to end the show. So please join me, Chris Grant, along with my proselytematic co-host, Chris Rasick, as we dive into the festivities. Luke, what's going on? Glad to have you here. Christian, same to you. Chris, how are things, man?
Well, we're keeping it together. Got the gift of some mysterious sickness going through the house. So, yeah, it's just a matter of surviving right now.
Right.
So it sounds like you got a touch of something going too, right?
Yeah. We've got the flu bug going around our house. It started with, my kid. And I thought that my wife would go down first, but she did not. Yeah, I woke up this morning and felt like death warmed over. So it was me first. I even pulled out the Festivus aluminum pole for this. I wanted to make sure that we were all the way in. So we're gonna celebrate Festivus today, but we've been doing some Christmas shopping. We've been getting ready for the holidays, and I had something really weird happen. I had to go to the mall, and I hopped on the elevator, and on the elevator with me was elderly woman, a nice old lady, and she started clutching her purse like really tightly, and kind of made me feel uncomfortable, made me feel a little bad. And it really made the situation weird because, I'm pulling, she's pulling, I'm pulling again. It was a bad situation.
They're stronger than they look, aren't they?
Right. And Z, absolutely. We're going to have a little fun this evening. Going to go a little over. And of course, we're here to answer your questions. So in between every single, every little thing here, we're going to make sure to get to your guys' questions as well. But before we get started, I do want to give you a quick and last reminder. Last week, we did a webinar all about Section 3s, and I know that is very Grinch to have to bring up during the holidays, but they are a fact of life, and we're going to be taking that webinar down soon. So if you want to watch the replay, I need you to head over to cleartheshelf.com/S3, just the letter S, the number 3, and you can check that out. It's going to be up for I think another 24 hours or so, and then we'll be taking that down. So, all right, I figured, excuse me, we're going to be coughing a little bit as we get through here, but we will get through this. I figured that some of you are probably uninitiated into Festivus, and I thought that maybe a little background into the holiday would be something that might be helpful, because it is a Festivus for the rest of us. This holiday is not really steeped in mythical history. It was born on the sets of Seinfeld, and the holiday first aired on the episode called The Strike back in 1997. Now, most holidays are steeped in tradition, thankfulness, and cheer, but Festivus really turns that directly on its head, and it kind of spits in the face of traditional holidays. Festivus was the brainchild of one of the Seinfeld writers. His name was Dan O'Keefe, and he based it on an actual real holiday that his family celebrated. His father, Daniel O'Keefe, invented Festivus back in the 60s as a way to commemorate family milestones. But in real life, apparently, it was even stranger than what was on the show. It involved some sort of a clock in a bag, some philosophical debates, and it was very, very weird. And I always like that. I like that about art, and I consider shows to be art. how people bring some of their real life into it. But here's all you need if you want to celebrate Festivus at home. You need a Festivus pole. Forget the tinsel, forget the lights. Festivus is all about simplicity, and you need a plain aluminum pole that is the centerpiece of the holiday. It offers the lack of decoration is kind of a critique or a thumb in the nose of the over-the-top commercialism of the regular holidays. We've also got the airing of grievances. Instead of goodwill, good tidings, and cheer, Festivus encourages a cathartic release of frustration. So gather your loved ones tight, tell them how disappointed in them you are over the past year. It is quite the bonding experience. There's also feats of strength. Once the grievances are aired, it's time to show who the boss is. Traditionally, this would involve wrestling the head of the household to see if you can take your spot with feats of strength. But we have, since we cannot do that, we will be changing things around just a little bit. And then, of course, there are Festivus miracles, just unexpected moments of delight that bring a sense of magic to the holiday, or it's really just a coincidence. So, on this Festivus themed show, we're going to honor this tradition by airing our grievances, celebrating some feats of strength, which I think we've come up with some good things, and cherishing some Festivus miracles to keep us going into the next year. So let's start with the airing of grievances. I'll kick it off. The first one, right off the top of my mind, and something that is just Amazon just gifted to us here very recently, is the new FBA reimbursement policy that goes into effect in March of 2025. Now, they have made some adjustments to the wording to make it a little bit more clear. However, they're going to be changing it so that you get reimbursed for your manufacturing cost rather than the average of the selling price of the items that you have in Amazon. And on top of that, you're going to have to put in your costs. And so now not only do we have what is likely going to be a reduction in reimbursements, but we've also now have a new thing to manage. And so this is my first grievance with Amazon. Chris, what about you?
You want me to pile on, or you want me to move on to the next grievance?
You are welcome to do whatever makes you feel right.
All right. Well, number one, if anybody missed last week, that policy, the new reimbursement policy, flat out sucks. There is no there's no sugarcoating it. There's no silver lining. Aside from the policy changes, which happened long ago, which they announced. They're going to just reimburse everything. So, but apparently somebody ran the numbers and said, "Whoa, let's pump the brakes on that." So, for the people that say we're always back in Amazon, we have broken that streak, even in our most fearsome haters' eyes. So, yeah, that one's definitely a negative. Mm-hmm. So. You know what? One grievance that I want to get off my chest is, and I'll preface this with maybe I read the comment wrong. Maybe I chose the wrong tone. That could be difficult in text-based comments. As you're reading them. But my grievance is with in Amazon groups. When people respond with "you said," and specifically when they're talking to you, Chris, mm-hmm. I think a reminder needs to go out to everyone that you give an incredible amount of your time to help the community, and that's and you certainly don't receive the level of gratitude that you should for the amount of help that you provide the community. I think people need to remember that you are not an insider. You're not a plant from Andy Jassy with certain information, even if the people who think we're apologists for Amazon may think it's big Amazon, a spy from HQ or something like that. You don't get inside information. Okay.
I do not.
So the thing that you need to remember, and this likely goes for any of the people that are producing content, trying to help the community, or help themselves for the shadier ones. But the thing to remember is that the information provided is what everyone gets. What you get from Amazon is the same stuff that Chris gets. He interprets through over a decade of simply being plugged into the marketplace. It's an interpretation through his experience, through his knowledge. It's you're piggybacking the information he provides is him letting us piggyback his network. The fact that he talks to people in his DMs every single day, just dozens, if not hundreds. I have no idea how many people that you talk to every single day, but he's in all these different groups. So he's connected with more sellers than anybody else we could probably come across. Right. So he is processing that information for us and giving us his best thoughts on what it means and how it relates to us. So essentially, he's a liaison through Amazon, but it's only through his own experience. So anytime you feel the need to start your sentence with, but you said, keep that in mind, because he's doing his best. Amazon is not the best of communicators. If sellers in Amazon went to marriage counseling, communication would certainly be one of the major issues brought up. Hopefully those big padded boxing gloves too, but Amazon's not the best. So before you get a little Chad or Karen on the content creator that you're listening to the most, take a step back and realize, that this is not 100% foolproof. It is not fed to him intravenously through Amazon.
It would be nice though. It sounds like you may have read a comment that I must have missed.
I
to be honest,
could have. I've got fever. My brain's a little fried, so I may have just kind of taken it the wrong way. But it's happened multiple times. People. Well, we see it on social media all the time. People just kind of lash out. They have an emotional response, and their filter doesn't kick in before their fingers start typing. So
yeah.
If it's not a specific example, I think it still needs to be stated. Yeah,
I tend to think that folks are mad at Amazon for one reason or another, and they need to vent somewhere. So that's all. Sure. It's all right. Tracer Jays, what's going on, Nasir? You guys are more than welcome to get into the airing of grievances if you choose, by sharing them in the chat. We'll share some good ones. It doesn't have to be just us, but we can keep going. The next airing of grievance that I have is seller support. I have on multiple occasions defended the Twitter handle Amazon seller support or seller help or whatever it is. And honestly, I think that they have dropped the ball. Now, this is going to make me sound like I'm defending them once again. I'm sure that they've got their hands tied behind their back just a little bit by what they can and cannot do by those that in the ivory towers. But seller support needs an overhaul badly. It is just a cesspool of inadequacy, and that might be saying it lightly. I don't know how to fix that, but something needs to be done.
There are a couple good ones typically. One of them, is it Ron? Well, one of them has a sense of humor.
Yeah, Ron does have a sense of humor.
Yeah, and they It's weird that they listen for mentions too. Like you don't necessarily have to tag them sometimes. Like they'll just jump in. They're searching certain phrases, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I thought so.
All right. My next grievance is so Amazon. What's the latest market cap that you saw for Amazon, Chris? What's the number?
Oh, I know that it's over
several
$1 trillion,
trillion?
right? Yeah, I thought I saw 2 trillion recently. Let me check. I'll tell you here. 2.37 trillion.
All right. How about you knock it off with cutting corners, cutting costs with a $2.3 trillion company? Yeah. Andy Jassy, knock it off, you cheap ass. Like, Jesus, cut us a break. Okay. You're the cheapest $2.3 trillion company I've ever come across in my entire life. These, like, man, like a slave to the shareholders. I know it's what you got to do, but and I know managing a company that size isn't easy. But man, I mean, these numbers coming up, if he is even moderately effective at the amount of cost-cutting measures that he's doing, if this actually shows up in the earnings reports, it should be a good year for Amazon in 2025, wouldn't you think?
I would certainly think so. I mean, their stock price is up 46% over the past 12 months. So they've obviously made the shareholders very happy. I mean, do you really? I know that delivering shareholder value is what is important for a public CEO. I get that. But there does come a point where we don't necessarily need to nickel and dime every single piece of Amazon. I would imagine that there is still some growth to be had on the retail side. Maybe we spend a little bit more time beating back the likes of Walmart and stuff like that. Take on Temu and Sheen a little bit harder if you want to. But I would agree. Andy does seem to be cheap. And I don't know, like, do you really need 46% increase on your stock in a year? Like let's get back to like 15 is nice and normal. And slow down the bleeding from sellers just a little bit.
Right.
Next up, brand gating. This one plain old sucked. There was nothing anybody could do. There was no communication again. There were a lot of brands that got gated, including things like Lego. Of course, there was the Nike brand gating, kind of on and off, and several other brands. Excuse me, that sellers were very unhappy with as we went into Q4. It was, if nothing else, it was just very poorly communicated. And it was not delivered across the board. It was, it was hit or miss. I didn't have a single Lego brand ASIN get gated. I had some Hasbro, did not have Mattel. It was just very, very strange how this all happened. Now, if an email had gone out and said, hey, we're going to gate for certain sellers until X time, that would have been kind of nice. I've even seen a new email that's gone out recently about some gating, and Amazon being much more, offering much more of an explanation, which means they know how to write these emails. So why have they not done so yet?
Right. You're referring to, is that the Hunter fans?
Yes, Hunter fans.
Yeah. And that, boy, how much easier would it be if emails like that were sent to explain some of this stuff?
That was a breath of fresh air.
It was. And it confirms part of it. I do still think there's a combination of probably three factors at least 3. I don't think this is all just a blanket reason. You know, I do think that we know that there are issues with their bots. You know, so sometimes they connect account health, you know, will trigger a certain level of shut off with certain brands, which that is a grievance that should be added as well. If you get a health violation and you win the appeal, you should also win back access to any brands that you may have lost because of the temporary drop in your account health score. But so we know that there are bot errors. You know, there are what was the one with pesticides? It thought, you know, kids' toys contained pesticides or something crazy like that. It was a clear error. So there's automated mistakes. Can't tell me that there are brands on the back communication channel with Amazon, you know, who aren't. I think it seems like brands take things a lot of different ways. If they don't happen to like third-party sellers on the marketplace selling their stuff, there's a proper way to do it to where they can lock down the brand on Amazon. They can kind of go through Amazon and what brand registry, I assume. And, you know, they could restrict access across the board and, you know, do it the right way. Some of them just like to, you know, send out counterfeit without test buys and silly stuff like that. Other companies hire useless firms like Voorhees, you know, to chop down some forests and provide us kindling. So, you know, you know, there's brand pressure. You know, if brands are going all these different routes, try to get in contact with us and try to restrict our access to sell on the marketplace, you know that they're reaching out to Amazon too, and probably a multitude of different ways, and putting pressure on them to try to get third-party sellers with their name out of our mouths. And then, you know, we also know, like the wording in that Hunter email that's going around, we know that Amazon is also working their own distribution deals. You know, they're working with brands and they want to offer that directly. So I still think it's a combination of at least all 3 of those, and probably a handful of different reasons. You know, why this is all coming down in Q4, or seems to be accelerating in Q4. At least it seems that way. I don't know, but maybe it's just a combination of things with all the Section 3s, which timing is suspect for that as well. So,
absolutely, it certainly feels, you know, different. And you mentioned another one which makes the annual list of airing of grievances, which is Voorhees. If we could just, you know, give a collective middle finger to anybody, I think it would be Voorhees. They are just I don't know, they're very frustrating, and of course everyone, especially newer sellers, get very, very scared when they get a Voorhees letter in the mail. It's frustrating, and it's, I don't know. My opinion is they actually don't bring much, if any, value to the marketplace, and they're really just making things more expensive for consumers, and padding their billable hours is all that they do.
Yep. My grievance, these overly abundant death calls, just the death of fill in the blank. Whatever you're saying is dead. Knock it off. Like, I mean, your batting average, you wouldn't even make the minor leagues with all these death calls. It's so overplayed. Like, it's arbitrage is dead. Third party selling on Amazon is dead. I just can't stand it. Like, we're just way too prediction happy. Number one, like, remember when predictions were actually going out on a limb, you know, and like back Joe Namath like style, you know, that was
right.
That was back when it was cool. You know, it's not cool anymore. Like Amazon, you know, and here, you know, like that Hunter email and that whole, when you start talking about that, you know, the brand direct the Amazon deals. I saw somebody make we're in prediction season as I say this, and a whole bunch of people are saying they predict 2025 will be the year of Amazon going brand direct, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while I don't think you're really sticking your neck out there. I think that they're always looking to go brand direct. I think that's probably their preferred method. And of course, they're going to start from the top because they're the only ones with the actual sales data, right? So why wouldn't you be doing that? Amazon is not they're not a stupid company. You can't be as big as they are without exploiting your advantages, right? However, Amazon needs us, right? And I mentioned it several weeks ago. One of the new decals on their trucks that are going around it says Amazon, everything and the kitchen sink.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Amazon their marketing is flat out telling us, the sides of their trucks are telling us they want to offer everything. They cannot offer everything brand direct. Okay. They need us to fill in all that random stuff that they wouldn't spend the money on. They're not actuary tables, but the whatever software they would need to remain in stock. They need us to stay in stock on stuff. They need us to carry and fill in all the gaps in the stuff that they can't get directly. I mean, it's business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They've never not been interested in brand direct, as far as I'm concerned. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but
I would agree with that. I mean, Amazon was brand direct with one of the most famous brands in the world at one point. That would be Nike.
Right.
And then Nike decided to go a different route. They wanted to be more D2C. They wanted to take more control of the channels that they were selling on. Amazon is more than happy to be brand direct with the the brands where it makes sense. But even Amazon only has so much money, and only so many brands are going to give them 90 or day terms or whatever it is that they might get. And I learned something interesting today is the amount of brands that Amazon probably wants to do business with is pretty low. And here's my reasoning. Okay, and we've got a podcast coming out here pretty soon. Pattern, which is the largest brand direct wholesaler on the Amazon platform, they only do business with like 25% of the brands that reach out to them. They have some very strict criteria. And I would imagine that if they have that in place, Amazon likely has it in place even more. So that's another thing. They're just not. Amazon can't do everything, and that's why they have a marketplace.
Yeah, and to put Nike in perspective, I know this may have changed. The numbers may have been different when Amazon and Nike were in partnership with each other. But I recently read that Nike, as far as search term rankings, is only in like the top 1,000 of search terms.
I believe that's correct.
I would have expected that number to be much, much higher, especially with the emphasis that, as a brand, as far as the value of that brand on Amazon goes. I was very surprised that they weren't higher ranked.
If I'm not mistaken, there is. I looked up Nike, Under Armour, Adidas. Now we've got to take these numbers with a grain of salt because they're not completely accurate, but they are directionally correct. But Smart Scout says that like Adidas is actually it's a lot larger than Nike on the Amazon platform. And I think Nike was in the top 5 when it came to monthly sales on the Amazon platform. So
Nike or Adidas was?
Nike was in the top 5.
Nike was in the top 5.
Yeah, when it came to monthly merchandise volume, in the clothing, shoes, and in that one category.
Gotcha.
Here's the last one, and again, guys, if you have questions, you want to air your own grievances, like, go for it. The chat is open. Chat is open. The last one that I've got is the "you've ruined Christmas" emails from customers. That's the one that I don't care for those. You know, I can understand being upset about your package being late. I can understand about Amazon shipping it in it's without some overboxing. I can be open to a lot of things. But going directly to the "you've ruined my child's Christmas because I paid $75 for this $25 item" or something else, I think is peak Karen, and I don't go for it.
Yeah, I tell you one thing. This last minute shopping between the infrastructure, you know, delivery infrastructures of places like Amazon and BOPUS, you know, being able to buy online, pick up in store. Procrastinators have it pretty easy these days when it comes to holiday shopping. Like I said, we've been sick, so I was like, my shopping plans have just been obliterated. So not that I'm, you know, a go-getter anyway, but I mean, I'll start a solid week before Christmas, you know, like I don't, you know, I won't wait till the last minute. That's silly.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I'll give myself a full week.
I bought my very last item for Christmas today. A full 2 days ahead of the holiday. So I think I'm 100% done. All right.
Excellent.
So and Luke, you're absolutely right. Luke brings up transparency. I also do not care for transparency. And the new API, it was done absolutely at the wrong time. 100%. It's silly. Flippy Kaye, customers who message directly thanking you for their item instead of following the instructions to give them feedback, that can be frustrating. Absolutely. Now I want to transition to feats of strength, and Chris and I are not in the same room, so there's no way for him and I to, you know, thumb wrestle or arm wrestle or, you know, Roman Greco wrestle to see who is king of the hill. And so I figured we would turn this into what we are grateful for, or not what we're grateful for, but some things that we know have happened this year that have been awesome. Okay. So the very first feats of strength for me that I want to share is one of our listeners, Jerry Brown. I have not seen him here today, but I saw either in a post on social media or maybe in a comment section that he took something that we said. We called way ahead how important we thought FBM was going to be this Q4, maybe more so than it has in the past. He absolutely took it to heart, and he said that him and his team did 4,000 merchant fulfilled orders since December 1st. That is nuts. Absolutely nuts to me.
Yeah, that's a really, really strong number. I wish he was here. I'd love to ask him like what he normally expected. Like how much of a ramp up was that? You know, just to try to get a feel for the increase. You know, how much bigger FBM was this year. And then let us know in the comments if you know what your normal number typically was, and if that number was up, if we were right about that. But yeah, but that's just an incredible number. I'll remind you of it was either last week or the week before. Ryan shared one of your tips, and refresh my memory if the numbers are off, but I believe he said he made $500 off of one of your tips that you had given out.
Yeah, so that I remember that one. That one was from one of the Q&As, and I talked about I talked about storefront stalking with Keepa, kind of the shotgun method. Said that night he took it and found himself $500 in profit. Just from something offhand that we said on the show, and that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's a heck of a receipt right there.
Yeah. Frank Kitchen, he's been around quite a bit. He listened to the podcast episode that we did on Section 3s, and I had to do the math because he laid out when he got his Section 3 and when he was back. And Frank took 4 days to beat his Section 3. The guy absolutely sped run this thing. I thought I did it pretty quick, and then Stahl beat me, I think, by a day and a half or two. And I was like, oh man, yeah, you're making me look bad. And then Frank absolutely obliterated both of us with 4 days. I'd love to know if anybody has gotten back faster than that, because that is incredible.
Yeah, and it's a good reminder back to what you said at the top of the show, about the Section 3 webinar, because now it's your information is incredible. We've had numerous people just flat out call you out and say thank you for all the detailed instructions that you give. We did podcast episode on it. I think we went on for about an hour and a half or 2 hours on it, and gave detailed. You have the webinar. There's a bunch of information that you've provided for Section 3. So if you're still struggling with it, because when it started out, it was taking everybody a long time. But we've had multiple people, like Chris, he went through it, so now he's distilling his best practices. So it's definitely shrinking the amount of time that you should be taking. And I imagine Amazon's probably, smoothing the edges and it's running a little bit smoother for them on their back end too. So, all the more reason to where if you haven't had one yet, you probably will, so we're of the opinion that this is a grand scale verification of Amazon's supply chain via their third-party sellers. Or if you're in the middle of something and it's been, longer than say a week or so, make sure you hit up all the information you can from Chris on the Section 3, because, it's we're getting it down to a science by now.
So this next one, this feat of strength is something that I don't think was shared. Sorry guys, let me delete that one. Let me block that user. Someone's popping in there asking for money on Facebook. All right. So I don't think this was shared publicly. Hopefully he doesn't mind if he happens to see this. But Eli Glukowski is one of the smartest sellers that I know, and just a all around good businessman, and in my opinion, a good guy. And he shared with me not too long ago that he hit $1 million in a rolling 30, which, and here's the thing. Are there other sellers who do that? Yes, absolutely. But Eli does like 90% of the work on his own. Now I got to give, a shout to Merritt, his wife. But he does the sourcing, he does most of the buying, he handles a ton of his own management. Like it's insane what he gets done. And so that I think is deserved of a feat of strength.
Yeah, absolutely. And runs a lead list company with like 7, 8, 9 separate lists.
Yeah,
that he's delivering Monday through Friday. I mean, that's incredible. So do you have any, what else have you seen as far as friends of the show, Q4 numbers?
Steve and Alexa also crushed it. They shared on Twitter that they hit 7. They were just 5,000 short of 800,000. So they hit $795,000 in a rolling 30. Now, what makes that impressive to me is the fact that they're doing a majority retail arbitrage. They don't outsource anything. Like, it's really just them going out and doing the shopping. I think they might have a little bit of prep help, but they try to keep the business from a management perspective fairly small. But they're absolutely I mean, 800,000 in a rolling 30 from retail arbitrage is nuts. So yeah, kudos to them.
That's massive number. Congrats, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. And I'm sure there's more. And you guys are more than welcome to share your feats of strength. We'd love to, give you a virtual pat on the back for crushing a goal this year. And it doesn't need to be, like Eli or like Steve and Alexa. Like, they've been at this for a long, long time. You made your first 10,000 in sales. Incredible. You deserve to take a moment and appreciate what you've built, no matter where you are. And don't compare yourself to someone who's been at this for a decade and has their systems dialed in and things like that. Like, it is important to congratulate yourself. So let's talk a little bit about Festivus Miracles. And again, before we dive into this, guys, if you have questions, I know that the show is it's a little smaller than normal today, which I get. It's a couple days before Christmas. Half our audience is probably out Christmas shopping for themselves or going through their death pile trying to figure out what to give for Christmas. But if you've got questions we can answer for you guys, drop them in the chat. We're happy to get to those. And also, we're going to do a little trivia here, and I've got giveaways. So a couple people are going to go away with a gift or two here for Festivus. So, but Festivus Miracle number 1. Here's what e-commerce growth, in my opinion, is Festivus Miracle number 1. I know that we're on this, up and to the right trajectory for e-commerce, but it never ceases to amaze me what kind of growth we're seeing. 8.7% growth in e-commerce in the US in 2024. Now, I know that, when some sellers got started back during COVID, we were seeing 20% growth, and that was amazing. And of course, we were going to see that fall off a bit. But 8.7% growth in a year is incredible. We're looking to end 2024 with a total of 1.3 trillion in e-commerce sales inside the US, which is almost 1/5 of e-commerce in the entire world.
That is amazing.
Excuse me. Christian hit our very first 1K sales day last week, followed by 5Ks just a few days later. Now we're sitting at 8.5K and hoping to reach our first 10K all within 1 month. That's incredible. Good for you guys. Absolutely.
Yeah, congratulations.
Here's the second Festivus miracle. We've got Walmart, which is becoming this I don't want to call it a shiny object, but that's what it feels like at the moment. I know we've had a couple of folks on the podcast who are selling on Walmart, are very, very happy with it. But with all the things that Amazon throws at us, it can be very tempting to push in the chips and take your ball somewhere else. And they're looking to be at about 10 billion in sales this year. But Amazon's gross merchandise volume this year is looking to hit growth numbers of 10.5%. 10.5%. They're going to end the year with almost 500 billion in e-commerce gross merchandise volume. Now, I want to put those numbers in perspective for a moment, okay? because I just said that the total U.S. e-commerce sales in the United States are 1.3 trillion, right? And so that means that for every single dollar that is spent on the internet in the United States, Amazon gets almost 50 cents of every single dollar on the internet in the United States. And even though they're at that number, they saw 10.5% growth this year. Now, sure, I know some people are going to come in and they're going to say, well, inflation. Sure, that would have played a little bit of a role, but core inflation is not horrible right now. So I think that's less of a fact, and it's also just more people want their stuff faster. I saw a fascinating statistic from Simple Modern. Chris, do you know who Simple Modern is?
I've heard of it.
So Simple Modern they're a competitor to Stanley. They make cups and mugs and things like that. Their stat today was that something like 39% of their active listings on Amazon could still make it to the customer before Christmas. Today, Christmas Eve, 39%. And something like 12% of their inventory or 12% of their listings had same day availability to customers on Amazon. So things could be ordered and delivered on December 23rd. There is not another company that can do that. Now, can Walmart do delivery from its stores? Yes, absolutely. Okay. Can Target do delivery from its stores? Yes. But if we were to look at the difference between how much was available on Amazon for same day delivery or even next day delivery compared to the number of different SKUs we could get from Target or Walmart in that kind of time, I think the number would be vastly different.
Yeah, that's and I mean, imagine a marketplace with no brick and mortar presence being able to pull even essentially with the Target and Walmart that is, probably for the vast majority of us within just probably a few miles away.
Mm-hmm.
That can't be that can't be understated. I mean, that's impressive. 39% of their inventory. So that's essentially everything that we've been talking about when it comes to, the inventory placement headaches and whatnot. Like you can see, that they call it what the flywheel approach, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the strategy that Amazon has been working on for a long time. That's amazing, really.
Yeah, it really is. All right, the final Festivus miracle. This one is a little selfish, but this year we hit 100,000 downloads on Spotify across, I believe, 70 or so episodes of the podcast. I know that we're not above 75, and we've had 100,000 downloads on Spotify in total. And this year, we also hit 650,000 views on the podcast across those same episodes. So a total reach of 750,000 folks have had the opportunity. Not all of them did listen to us, but had the opportunity to listen or watch. And that really is, it's absolutely amazing to me. That is something, that kind of reach, that kind of ability to share your thoughts, ideas, to bring knowledge to people. I mean, we live in an amazing time. Like, there is no way, even if I had been in the the heyday of yellow journalism and had, one of the biggest newspapers in the world, I would have been able to get, maybe 12,000 people to read it. And we can now, sit from our homes and reach that kind of audience is nuts to me.
That is a Festivus miracle. You people need to get better taste in your shows. Jesus.
I would agree with that.
What are you spending that much time listening to these two hacks for? God.
I'm serious. All right. I figured that we would do a little bit of trivia. I've got some gifts for you guys. A copy of Ace and Gadget. I'm going to buy somebody. IP Alert, Keepa Academy, and the OA Challenge is what I'm going to give away here. And so if you guys are here, it's been awful quiet. We're going to do a little trivia, and the first person to give the right answer is going to be the person who wins. Okay. So, and I didn't pick easy ones either. So, all right. Yeah, I'm not going to do leads for anybody this time around, but we'll have some more giveaways here pretty soon. The very first one is, what year was Fulfillment by Amazon launched? So Amazon started in 1999, I think. But they did not offer FBA capabilities until what year? First person to answer gets a copy of IP Alert. Oh, MJ was close. Sorry. I'm showing Lounginger as the first right answer with 2006. 2006. That's absolutely right. So, Lounginger, I'll tell you what you need to do. Okay. You need to, and let me write down your username here. You need to send me an email to chris@cleartheshelf.com. Let me know your username, and I will get you a lifetime copy of IP Alert. All right.
Nice. And thanks for being you've been around quite a bit, at least recently. So thanks for tuning in. How are we supposed to say? Is that like Lounge Singer with a Z instead of the S? Like, how are we supposed to pronounce that? Like, if you could give us some sort of phonetic spelling in the comments, we'd appreciate that.
Right. All right. This next one here, this one you really have to pay attention to the lives or the show to know the answer to this one. But this one is, what was the most sold item on Amazon Prime Day in 2024? And this one is going to win ASIN Gadget. That is an extension from our buddy Derek Lee. What was the most sold item on Amazon Prime Day in 2024?
Is that ASIN Gadget Pro? Is that with all the bells and whistles?
I am going to buy ASIN Gadget Pro with all the bells and whistles.
Nice. That is, so that's got what? Trustpilot incorporated?
Yep.
What does that have above the?
You can check Trustpilot. It'll actually pull all the ASINs from the historical sellers on the historical sellers on a listing. There's all kinds of things. Oh, and Flippy Kaye got it. That is I did not expect anyone to get this, quite honestly. It was Apple Flippy Kaye said Apple AirPods. That's going to be close enough. It's Apple AirPods Pro, but that is absolutely right. So Flippy Kaye, I'm going to buy you a copy of ASIN Gadget Pro. Just write your name down here. And I'm going to say this again here. So email me at chris@cleartheshelf.com. I need to know your username and what you won, and then I'll get you your winnings.
Those fire sticks. That's a good guess.
That is a good guess.
I could have seen myself getting there too. And Christine says a Ninja Creamy, which I've had a Keepa alert set on that thing. I want one of those so bad. I can't even express. I don't even think, I think it would probably be one of those appliances under the cabinet. Like it would probably hold out the longest out of all the appliances that I think I'm going to use. The Ninja Creamy would probably have the longest run on top of the counter.
I was in Target the other day, and I was walking down the aisle. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to see if they've got Ninja Creamies. See, do they have them on sale? That kind of stuff. And they had them on sale at Target for like $179.99. Fortunately, they didn't have any in stock, so I did not buy one. But I was off. Man, I'm so tempted.
Yeah, I got a couple of 179 alerts, but it's been like several weeks. I was trying to hold out for closer to Christmas, but they didn't come.
So this next piece of trivia is going to win a copy of OA Challenge. Get you the replays of the OA Challenge, which is 14 days of listening to me yap about how to use Keepa and do online arbitrage and all that. And this one is going to be really tough, in my opinion. But back in 1999, Amazon actually made employees from the Seattle offices, go out and do retail arbitrage. All right. And they did this at Toys R Us. So it was Q4 holiday season. And Jeff tells his employees, hey, I need you guys to go out and hit every single Toys R Us. And they purchased every single unit of one particular toy in 1999 because there was such a demand for it. They ran out of them at the Amazon warehouse. So they needed them to fulfill to their own customers. What was that toy? I wish it was Turbo Man. I wish it was Turbo Man. I got to remember this is back in 1999.
Yeah. That's what, yeah. Like, so what was the hot toy 25 years ago? Like,
yeah,
man, what a question. But it's good to take a little bit of satisfaction knowing that at least 25 years ago, the Beezer had a little bit of the medicine that the FBMers tasted in when they oversold, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we got Robotic Puppy. We got Mindstorm Robotics. Nope. I don't know. This one may be too hard. Working Woman Barbie. That's a good guess. Lego Mindstorm Robotics. That's a good guess. There it is. Hike. I did not expect anyone to get this. This is going to be close enough for me. Okay. Hike. I need you to email me at chris@cleartheshelf.com. So it was Pokemon Pikachu back in 1999. Amazon sent out their employees. They went and did retail arbitrage from Toys R Us's to be able to fulfill to their customers Pokemon Pikachu. And I'll tell you what, this is not the only time that Amazon has done this. There have been multiple times. Matter of fact, we even talked about Amazon doing retail arbitrage or online arbitrage earlier this year when Amazon was caught testing the Walmart marketplace with Costco branded products. So Amazon knows that arbitrage exists. No matter how many times you hear that it's illegal and all of that. Okay, last piece of trivia. This gets a Keepa Academy. And this might be one of my more favorite pieces of Amazon trivia, but Jeff Bezos did not want to call Amazon Amazon.com. He actually had another name for it. what was his idea for the original name for Amazon.com?
See, now this is tricky because I can see the answer on our show notes, but I know there was a different answer as well. So, yeah, Lounginger has. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, Lounginger. That is what most people think Cadabra, but it is not Cadabra. That is not what he wanted to make the URL of Amazon. I don't know if anyone's going to get this one. This one actually might be the toughest. And Luke, I want to take a moment here. Deal Hunter, that's what a lot of people think, but that's not it either. But Luke, I want to take a moment here because I believe this is the second time you've brought up my age, sir. And I'm starting to feel some type of way about this.
Seemed like such a nice guy at first.
I saw the answer. Bam. Amazon Con got it. Jeff Bezos is a big fan of Star Trek, and he actually owned it, or probably still owns it, but he wanted it to be makeitso.com, to kind of a play on the words of what Captain Picard would say, but also the fact that you could order something on the internet and it would show up at your door, so Amazon would make it so for you. But makeitso.com is exactly what it is. So Amazon Con1. Here's what you need to do. Email me, chris@cleartheshelf.com. Let me know your username on YouTube here, and I'll get you taken care of. I'll get you a copy of Keepa Academy.
Good old Captain Picard.
Yeah. All right. So I thought that we could end this out here with Corey bringing up Ohio, man. You're not just dumping on me, you're dumping on Chris, and Luke is from Ohio.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So flexed a little bit of muscle on the Volunteers. So Corey conveniently forgot to mention anything about that.
Right. So we've been going at this about an hour. Chris and I are both feeling a little under the weather. So I do want to take a moment and I do want to thank everybody. It's been 2024 has been an awful fun year. It's been interesting. Chris and I have been more locked in this year on the podcast than ever before, trying to bring a ton of content to you guys. We added in the weekly live show, which people have come out for every single week. We've seen some big numbers. Came out for the 4-hour show that we did, raise some money for a good cause. You guys have been incredible. And I want to take a moment and thank you for hanging out with us, for having some laughs, for putting up with our sarcasm, making us think that we're a little bit more witty than we probably are. And it's been a fun year, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really has. At least the audience makes us feel a little witty, and it counteracts how lame my wife makes me think my jokes are. So it's like it's a balancing act. So,
Absolutely.
But you know what? Before we officially wrap it up, and I of course echo the sentiment. The people that show up, it amazes me. That you guys keep showing up. Special shout out to the regulars. I won't start naming the names. We try to recognize you on the shows here and there. But we do see several of you in the comments consistently week after week. Whether it be these comments in the lives, the comments on YouTube underneath the podcast episodes, whether it's interacting with us on social medias or the Facebook groups. I really appreciate the loyalty and the interest. I don't know whether it's imposter syndrome or what, but the fact that you guys keep coming back and you haven't gotten tired of us, is surprising and very much appreciated. So I hope that means we're bringing value. Let us know if there's more stuff that you want us to cover that we might not be covering, or that you think maybe we should. We are listening. No matter what, in case if you think we might not be, we definitely are, in whatever comment section or whatever social media. And Chris, you, sir, I do want to thank you. You have basically, professionally and personally, my life is better with you in it. So I appreciate the fact that you take my ideas seriously, including the ones in the very beginning, like the crazy idea to start a podcast and put a jackass like me on for thousands, hundreds and thousands to see and attach your reputation to. It's either incredibly generous, a little bit stupid. I'm not sure what it was, but but I do appreciate it. Your time, your attention, your friendship mean the world to me, and I do not take it for granted, sir. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. And that goes both ways. I appreciate you. We're gonna end this. Of course, we've always got a dad joke, but we've also got a little bit of a Festivus toast, because it would not ever be a Festivus celebration without a toast to end things off. So if you want to raise your glasses, or maybe not, if you're driving or something like that. But here's to us, the warriors of the warehouse, the gladiators of great deals, and the conquistadors of Q4. It's every late night sourcing session, every perfectly prepped parcel, and every Keepa chart that we've obsessed over. Your hustle and resilience is seen, it's appreciated, and from Chris and I both, it's applauded. Here's to the small wins that keep us going. The first sale of the day, a perfectly timed restock, or that customer who actually leaves positive feedback. In the new year, may our lead list stay plentiful, our ASINs stay profitable, and our buy boxes stay firmly within our grasp. Here's to another year of bolos, of mastering marketplaces and conquering the curveballs Amazon throws our way. Cheers to you guys. I hope your shelves stay clear, your margins stay high, and your dreams stay big. Happy selling and happy Festivus, everybody. Now, it would not be a weekly show between us without a little bit of a joke. So I'm gonna go real corny here. Chris, how much does Santa pay to park his sleigh?
I do not know. How much does Santa pay?
Nothing. It's on the house. That one's...
There you go.
That one's rough, but it fits the season. So thanks again so much, everybody, for being here. Appreciate you guys. We will be back next week for another one of these episodes, and we'll be back on Thursday for a regular Ask Me Anything as soon as the holiday's over. So, Chris, Merry Christmas, man. I hope it goes well.
Yeah, give my love to the family and have a great Christmas.
All right. Good night, everybody. Have a great one.